I recently found a unique 7-inch mini laptop on AliExpress, and I just had to get it. I've created an unboxing video and some follow-up videos, and now I use it every evening to browse the web, code, and play some simple games. Despite a few flaws, I'm determined to make this mini laptop a workhorse. Right now, it gets too hot when playing something basic like Minecraft for an hour. Plus, I discovered a hidden USB-C port in the back. In this video, I'm going to take care of both issues and make this pocket PC a powerhouse. So, nothing works, and now I have this. So how did we get here? The last video where I talked about what was inside this little 7-inch laptop, I received a few comments, a lot of good ideas, so I ordered some parts off Amazon and decided let's give it a try. First thing we have to do, we gotta open up the unit, some things to pick it apart. I'll speed this up here, just like the last video. Just use my little electric screwdriver, take the door out, take the sides off. If you've seen that other video, you know the drill.
A few moments later.
Just a little prodding, a little prying, and we got it open. So first things first, I got some Noctua NTH1 thermal paste. What's in this bag is actually a blue thermal pad. It's 5 millimeters thick. This is one of the thicker ones I could find. Got this just for this case and figured I could try and apply this to the bottom, and hopefully this should help create that passive cooling idea that I'm thinking of with it. So like before, we just gotta take this aluminum sandwich off. Just a couple screws, 4 screws here, and then we'll take it off. We're just going to kind of peel it back and expose. This is the CPU. This is that little Intel chip that is heating up like a furnace. The next thing we got to do is just going to wipe off the thermal paste here. So we're just going to clean off the exposed aluminum for that bottom plate. And then we're going to clean off the CPU. Just kind of make sure it's all nice and squeaky clean. This is the old stuff that I put on last time. I didn't show it because honestly it's really old stuff that probably not the best. It has to be better than the manufacturer stuff, but I have no idea how old it was, so it's what I had. This should be much better. Here you can kind of see what it looks like. This was recommended to help with the cooling. Should be easy to apply for a noob like me. Just gonna put a little piece-size dab on. I know someone's gonna probably say something about how to apply it. This is what it's getting. Next thing, we gotta just kind of remember which way this goes. Okay. I'm going to put some on that center lowered piece so that the next aluminum piece can attach to it. So the idea is that hopefully that heat will go from the CPU onto each individual piece, then up to the thermal pad, and then to the bottom of the unit where actual airflow or the outside air can cool it off. One giant passive heat sink, because that fan on the side is just kind of moving air through it and it's pulling in from the bottom and out the side and not even getting to really near that aluminum piece. If it's cooling it, it's cooling the top left. I decided to throw a little more thermal paste all over the place. Just kind of smear it all over. Hopefully it helps with the transfer of heat from sheet 1 to sheet 2, and then from sheet 2 I have a thermal pad, that blue thermal pad. So yes, this white piece right here, this is actually what in the last video I called a sticky pad. It's a thermal pad. It's about 2.5 millimeters thick. The new one is roughly twice the size. We're just gonna place this right here in the middle, kind of this big area here, as big as I can, right over top the CPU. And this should try and create that passive cooling where the heat goes from sheet 1 to sheet 2 to the outside casing. That's the goal. Next up, we are just going to cut out a hole for that USB-C port in the back. Decided to use an old trick. I'm going to take a piece of paper and sketch out where the previous ports were at, where that USB 3, the headphone jack, and that HDMI port. Line that up with the USB-C, cut that out, and we should have a pretty good idea where the USB-C should go and when we're making our hole, or when we're cutting out our access for it. So I just got this little kind of blue area. This is what I need to cut out. While messing with this, I've realized I made a little bit of an error. I thought this thermal pad was going to be as soft as the one that's half its thickness. I should have thought this through. So what happens is that it keeps the bottom from closing. I tried smashing it down. It can only be pushed down to a point where it actually becomes brittle and just starts cracking. You can see in the back I have one that cracked in half. While I think of an alternative, I may just have to use the old one. We'll see. I'm going to spend some time cutting out the access for that USB-C in the back. And of course, nothing works. And now we have this. When I decided to use my Dremel, the blades that I have are those older ones, and they broke and scratched up the sides of it, which, okay, I decided I'm going to try and use a drill, just to drill a hole, and that broke too. Bent the aluminum a little bit. Now you do have access to the USB-C. I did kind of trim it and get it to that, but yeah. People dig scars, right? This now has a little bit of scars. So it's late. My mind is blown, frustrated, so I'm just going to work on this next day.
One nap later.
I've been messing with the 3D printer. I've been printing some little caps to fix or fill in the gap for that accident. I'm just using some PETG that I have laying around. It's black. Just going to kind of make some test fits. A few ideas that seem to be working, but nothing that I absolutely love. So I'm going to continue to work on that. But let's put this back together because I want to do some testing to see if it's even cooling better than previously. Hopefully these help. Was able to trim the thicker cooling pad smaller. It's not covering as big a surface area as I wanted, but because of the indent in those sheets, I can put it inside that little indent. It does close and fit. It's a very snug fit. It actually holds on to the bottom of this pretty well also, but we're going to close it back up. You can see that once it's closed, USB-C is accessible. Plug a plug into it. This is just a little adapter, but it plugs in no problem. So I should be able to use any type of dongles, plugs, whatever, cords, whatever I want. Got it back together, all screwed in, and now let's kind of make sure everything's tight on it and fire it up, and hopefully we don't have anything explode. Hey, it works. All right, we got the Intel. And now we got a Windows loading screen. So we are working. All right. So what are the results? While this laptop is idle and just charging, the PC is running, on average, 5% cooler. I ran some tests with Geekbench 6, and the results were kind of wild. The CPU benchmark test is running 10% cooler after the new thermal paste and thermal pad. The GPU compute test is saying it's running 10% cooler, but it's also showing that the internal GPU is being used at 150% at some point. So that might be off. Running 4K videos on YouTube seems to be about 6% cooler after the upgrades. I've run multiple videos. If you can name this one here, put it in the comments below. So jumping into Minecraft, the loading screen would often spike for the CPU for a short while, but since the modification, it's running an average of 10% cooler just loading up. About 5 minutes into playing, the average is 8% cooler. 60 minutes of playing and the average temperature is also 8% cooler. I did all these tests with the device plugged in and charging, along with placed on these little stands to help with the airflow both before and after the upgrades. As for that USB-C port, I attached a USB-C dongle that I had that ties it into my desk setup. One plug, and it connects to my main keyboard, mouse, and monitor. The device still gets hot on the bottom, but it has gone from the entire bottom of the unit heating up to just a small section right where that blue heatsink is located. So now that I've upgraded this mini laptop, do you think it was worth the extra money? I'd love to hear what else I could do with it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my other ones. Bye.